So just notice your body's posture, how it's somewhat changed from a few moments ago. You might have been walking, you might have been settling down. This practice is all about arriving, constantly arriving. And when we use the word arriving, it refers to the arriving into the present moment. And we do it in stages so that it's not too overwhelming. We start off always with the body, because the body has its 5 senses, which are the doorways into the present moment. And as we use these doorways to enter into the present moment, we learn ways in which to bring the mind into the practice. We very gently, very gradually invite the mind to align itself with the body. And you don't have to say anything, so as far as speech is concerned, you can leave that aside. This morning, as I was preparing for this practice, I was listening to one of my teachers, and I found some really beautiful words of wisdom that I would like to share with you, just to remind ourselves about our reason for practicing. Because much of what we'll do in today's practice, I will introduce you to tools, different tools which will help you enter into this present moment, arrive into this present moment. But what are the benefits? What are the benefits? We would like to remind ourselves, what are the benefits of all this practicing, sitting here, breathing? It's a precious hour that we are giving to this practice. So let's make sure it's worth it. And what this teacher said is that see your body, see your clothing. You each one of us, we have 2 shields of armor that protect us. Protect us from harsh words, from things that people around us might say, from the news, the media, the social media, telling us how bad things are going to be, how our lives are going to be affected. And of course, the relationships around us, I think most of us who've arrived in this meditation room, this virtual meditation room, we've come to recognize that we're a little bit tired of trying to control the people around us, getting them to behave the way we want to, because it's not really possible. And so sometimes some of these people, our colleagues, the people we work for, our family members, they may say things that are hurtful, that may not be as kind as we would like. And so this teacher said that we have 2 bodies of armor. One is pretend. Just imagine your clothing to be one of these bodies of armor that protect you from all that news of what could potentially go wrong. those voices. And I'm not only talking about the voices that you will encounter over the coming day and days, but those voices from your past, teachers, parents, whoever said there was something they would have liked you to do or liked you to be that you were unable to live up to. So one of these shields are our clothing, and the other shield is our body. See our body as one of these shields as well. And these two shields are protecting something very precious. Something that cannot be affected by any word, any weapon, anything whatsoever. And this is that witnessing presence, that stillness, that awareness that we will tap into, that we will learn to tap into using the various tools. This practice will show us how we can decide what we would like to allow in and what we would like to shield ourselves from. And of course, it's quite simple, isn't it? It's a no-brainer. We like kindness. We like kindness. We like good things being said and done to us. We like things that are pleasing, words that are pleasing, funny. We like peace. We like joy. What else would you like? Comfort, ease. And so these things we will allow past these shields. But and the rest of it, we will learn through some of these practices how to allow them to bounce off these shields. And a very good example is, this is from another teacher of mine, how she said, imagine you received a phone call and it was from somebody you didn't know, a complete stranger, and this complete stranger said some very mean things to you. You are silly, you are used words like stupid, selfish, and on all of this, but it was a complete stranger, and then you discovered it was a wrong number. It wouldn't affect you, would it? You just smile and say wrong number, sorry, and it wouldn't affect you one bit. You'd probably think, what a crazy person, and switch off the phone. And now imagine that somebody you know or somebody you knew called you and said those exact same words. Selfishness, things that are unpleasant. And then most of us get agitated, we get disturbed, we get upset, and we might enter into an argument and begin disputing it. Same words, different person. One person you knew, one person complete stranger. One affected you, one didn't. Doesn't that show that in one case we allowed those words past our shields, and in the first scenario, we simply allowed them to bounce off our shields? But same words. The difference being the meaning that we gave these words because of our history, because of our relationships. And this is the power, one of the reasons we're here to practice, so that we have better control. Maybe control is not the right word, but ability to decide what we allow past these shields. And as we enter into this practice, you will realize that in this practice, the body is actually a separate entity. We begin treating the body as a separate entity from who we truly are, because it changes. Molecules, atoms, constantly undergoing different stages of change. Not permanent. Our clothes, just like our clothes. Warm weather today. We wear soft cotton and linen and all those kind of materials that are comfortable in this weather. And then as it gets colder, we use thicker materials, different types of clothing, but not a part of who we truly are. And this is a practice where we take it even a step further, where we begin to use these tools to recognize even our mind as a separate entity. So there are the clothes, there is the body, and then there is the mind. And most of us, if you've ever been unhappy, if you've ever been experienced anger, frustration, jealousy, any of those experiences that were unpleasant, that is simply an indication that we have identified ourselves with our minds. We believed ourselves to be our mind. And the mind is fickle, made up of many different experiences, many different voices we've accumulated, teachers, parents, the social media, the news, standards that we had to live up to, standards that those around us have to live up to. Constantly changing depending on which part of the world you grew up in, who your parents were, who your teachers were, what books you read. Constantly changing. And so we judge people around us. But the tools we will explore today will allow us to see if we can go beyond the mind. Observe the mind, just as we observe our clothing, just as we observe our bodies. We refer to our clothing as my shirt, my skirt, my jeans, my blouse. So me and my pieces of clothing are separate. We refer to our bodies, my hand, my eyes, my legs. In a similar way, so perhaps me and my body are separate. Two entities. And then we use my mind. My mind. So maybe there's more to this language, the words that we use, than we care to admit. And so the mind, could it be separate from who we truly are? And that's what this practice is about. We explore these tools today we'll begin. Why don't we begin? Because I know some of you sometimes need to leave a little bit early. So we'll begin with the body scan, which we normally do right at the end. And a body scan is a wonderful practice, especially in light of what we were just discussing, what I was just talking about, just because in the body scan we begin to explore not only different body parts, but the actual life within that isolated part of the body that we will look at, observe, notice. What keeps the cells alive, the blood flowing, the oxygen within the blood cells moving. And so basically my voice will guide you towards different parts of your body. And you can also turn this into a slightly visual exercise. So when I refer you to a particular body part, the awareness that you bring to that body part, you can visualize it as a light. No different from this light that is entering in through your windows. Some of you are outdoors. No different from this light that is landing on your skin. But you can, with your mind's eye, you can magnify it. You can intensify this light. Just to highlight that particular part of the body and within this light, so that you don't have to think too much. You can infuse it before we begin the practice with certain qualities. The quality of ease, whatever that means to you. When a particular part of the body is touched by this light of awareness, bring ease to it. And ease simply means releasing, letting go, allowing the cells' natural intelligence to surface, that natural intelligence that we refer to as the body's immune system, the body's ability to balance itself, release the perfect chemicals. What other qualities? Healing qualities, kindness. We're here to be kind to ourselves. This is a practice of kindness, of forgiveness, of patience. Because in the present moment, it's always the now, the now, the now. There's no hurry. There's no need to get anywhere. Because you're always in the present moment. And you can infuse this light with any other qualities that you would like, that bring smiles and comfort to your lips, to yourself. And so let's begin with that space around the forehead. But as the light reaches into the forehead, the skin around the forehead, the eyebrows, the scalp, let's invite this light through the skin, through the bone in the forehead, and into the frontal areas of the brain. And then allow this light to move all the way through the brain, through the center of the head, towards the back of the skull. Because what we're going to seek out is the spinal column. So notice that point in which the skull joins into the spinal column. Allow this light to move into this area, into the spinal column, and then inch its way down the spinal column, vertebra by vertebra, all the way down towards the base of the spine. And as this happens, it might be a good opportunity to just adjust your posture so that you're comfortable and feel quite well supported. Because for some reason, many teachers talk about posture when it comes to practices such as this, just because even from a medical point of view, we know that there are incredible fluids and nerves running down the spinal column that seem to govern most of our bodily functions. And so many teachers advise that if we are able to align our spinal column in a comfortable way, it can also work to our benefit, just because less effort required from the muscles. And so just stretch the top end of your spinal column upward, giving you a few tiny millimeters of height, stretching the lower end of your spinal column downward, and then just noticing your posture, feeling the light that we were visualizing. The light spreading through the spinal column, all the way down into the frontal part of the brain. And now this light, now that we're a little bit more grounded in our posture, allowing this light to spread throughout this region of the scalp, the top, the sides, the back of the scalp. You can even imagine a warm, comfortable oil massage that you might have experienced at some point in your life. Spreading through and relaxing, feeling the skin loosen itself. Bringing ease and bringing all those qualities that we were speaking about a moment ago, qualities that are contained within this light of awareness, and then allowing this light of awareness to gravitate inward through the bone, through the skull, this time more focused in the brain. This whole region within the skull bathed in this light. And then we know how many almost all our bodily functions regulated and assisted with the functioning of the brain. And so we just step back, because there's not a lot we really need to do. This intelligence takes care of everything. All we're a little bit more interested in right now is stepping back, not interfering with this process. Because what often happens is that through our worry, our stress, our projections into the future and memories of the past, they tend to push against this ease, this balancing, the surfacing of the immune system. And so now we just step back, becoming that observer, becoming that witness that we've always been. No need to interfere. So this light of awareness now spreading towards the eyes. And so this light of awareness, it spreads from the front part of the brain through the muscles at the back of the eye, the ligaments, and you might even feel your eyes relaxing. No need to strain, no need to focus on anything, just ease, just relax, just let go. The eyes themselves, the pressure within the eyes that allows them to keep their shape. The eyes bathed in this light, reaching the eyelids, the eyebrows, and then this light of awareness now spreading down the face. We all know what our faces look through the mirrors. We know what they look like. But what does it feel like? Not what does it feel like yesterday or the last time you did this practice, but what does it feel like today? Which muscles are tight? Which muscles are loose? What do your lips feel like? Is there a smile? Is it neutral? The eyelids once again, the jawbone. Remember, as this light touches all these different parts, there is only ease, letting go, allowing. And now the mouth, the teeth, the gums, where the teeth sit, the tongue within, the production of saliva, the taste of the saliva, the recognition that the saliva contains precious enzymes that assist in the digestive process, and we appreciate how magical this body is. The perfect chemicals that allow us and aid us in our digestive process, all being produced. No medication required. What if this was the case for the rest of our body? That's what we may, through practice, begin to experience, the perfect balancing, beginning from this moment, this new moment, this now moment, this present moment, where we sit here allowing. And then this light of awareness, it spreads sideways from the brain into the ears. You don't have to name every tiny little bone in your ear, but just feel it bathe the sides. Notice this instrument that we call our ears, this sense of hearing, this doorway into the present moment. Many teachers will guide you and speak of how you can use just your sense of hearing as a meditation tool. What can you hear right now? Can you notice the whole soundscape that seems to surround you? Not what you were hearing 5 minutes ago or 1 hour ago, but right now at this moment. The sound of birds or leaves or voices perhaps, footsteps. And then you notice how there are different categories, different filing cabinets within the mind where it begins to identify sounds that it likes, sounds that it dislikes, Some are too loud, some are too soft. Some are melodious. Some are disturbing, and some are not. For those sounds that are interrupting your practice and disturbing your practice, voices, telephones, things that you normally associate not with meditation, these are your most precious tools in the practice. Because if they are disturbing you, if they are interrupting your practice, there's only one reason. It's because we are not allowing them. We are pushing against them. We are telling them to go away. We want the present moment to be different from the way it is. And that's good, because you're beginning to identify what pushing feels like. It feels like distraction. It doesn't feel like ease. It feels a little bit like a struggle. And now try a different approach. Giving that sound, and of course I'm referring to the sound that's distracting or disturbing you, give it permission to exist. You could even talk to it. I give you permission. I allow you to exist. And if you have a scientific mind, a very thinking mind, you can begin to recognize that these are simply vibrating air molecules. You can break them down into vibrating air molecules, which is what they are. Even my voice. Vibrating air molecules emanating from my vocal cords. And then you begin to notice them like ripples on a still pond. You can notice them as for what they are. And then you can give them permission to exist. Just like that phone call we were talking about from a complete stranger. Sounds. They no longer need to be given any meaning. Maybe if you want to, you can call it too loud or too soft, or the sound of a car or the sound of a bell. But instead of getting too caught up in the dialogue, you can just put little labels, like those yellow sticky labels, like a bicycle bell, the car honking. Just stick them and just let them pass by. Not engaging, not having a conversation with them, not analyzing them too much, just observing. Like soap bubbles floating past you. And your awareness being like a needle that pops them. So many different soap bubbles, each representing a different sound, popped by the needle of awareness. And now you begin to regain control, or maybe control is the wrong word, just this awareness, this ability to decide what affects you and what doesn't. We practice with sounds like this, but there will come a time when those around you will be able to say anything they like. And you will simply allow the sound vibrations. You will begin recognizing them as sound vibrations and sound waves and nothing more. Your ability to no longer attach meaning to these words, allowing them to pass through your body, pass around your body. Becoming transparent to them. And since we're still on the sense of hearing, Can you hear the silence behind every sound? Try to let go of the sounds. Perhaps recognizing that none of these sounds, even my voice, would not be audible if not for the silence in the background. And you know this because if you've ever stood near an aeroplane or some loud music in a club or something like that, it becomes very difficult to hear voices, subtle sounds, those quieter sounds. But now you can hear. And so we focus on the silence behind every sound. We focus on the silence in between every sound. Even my voice. The only reason my words make sense is because of the gaps in between them. And so suddenly the silence, it takes a new dimension. And this is a practice where you don't need to listen to the sound of my voice. The silence is more important than the words. The gaps are more important. And shall we notice our ears bathed in this light of awareness? This light of awareness now seeping downwards through the back of the head, and it reaches the neck. It bathes the neck. You notice your windpipe. You notice this process called swallowing, whether it's saliva or a drink of water. You notice the muscles around your neck, how they seem to have that magical ability to hold your head upright. If you've ever seen a young child, a very young baby, a newborn baby, its inability to hold its head up, just because it hasn't learned how to use these muscles. And so we appreciate this ability, the strength of these muscles to hold our heads upright. We adjust. We appreciate the whole neck bathed in this light that now begins spreading into the shoulders like a warm and comfortable massage, allowing all the muscles in this region to relax themselves and find ease. If you're still sitting upright, then let the weight of your arms gently pull on your shoulders so that any tension and tightness begins to dissolve as the shoulders fall that little bit under this weight of the arms. The width of your shoulders, and then this light gently beginning to gravitate downwards, first into your arms, upper arm, the major muscle groups, the biceps, the triceps, loosening all these muscles, finding ease. And then the elbow joint, the forearm, all around the lower arms, into the wrist, the palms, the joint, the fingers, the sense of touch. The sense of touch that we associate with the tips of our fingers. What can you experience through the tips of your fingers at this moment? Are your hands holding each other? Are they on your lap? What temperature can they detect? Relax the joints. Allow them to be. Allow them to rest. They've done enough work. This is a time for kindness and rest. And now this light back into the shoulders and now into the chest. Your chest muscles relaxing themselves. This light of awareness penetrating deeper into the chest, into that space where the lungs are. And all the major organs within this region. Visualize this light flowing through your heart. And because your heart pumps, it beats and it pumps the blood. Every bit of blood passing through the heart, touched by this light which begins flowing throughout the remaining parts of your body, enriched with oxygen, with ease, with kindness, with all these qualities that we spoke of. Through the back muscles, the shoulder blades, down into the mid regions of the body, the stomach, the whole digestive process bathed in this light of awareness. And then, of course, the spinal column, which we touched with this light, which we bathed with this light right at the beginning. All these lights becoming one, merging into each other. Down into the pelvic region, the thighs, the knees, the calves, the soles of the feet and all the tiny bones within, all the way to the tips of the toes, so that your whole body becomes a body of light. And as this awareness arises, you once again begin to notice your body's posture. And the only thing that's relevant to this practice, that you are sitting here, that you are breathing. All your problems, all your challenges, everything other than the fact that you're sitting and breathing, representing the stories that we concoct with our mind. Everything else other than this fact that we're sitting and breathing stories to be simply released, observed, and allowed to unfold the same way we allow a play to unfold in the stage. We, the spectators, sitting and breathing, everything else, the part of a story, different characters, different voices. Now that our whole bodies are bathed in this light, what are those other qualities of light that science has recognized? Its ability to move at very high speeds. And so now that our whole body, every inch of our body is covered in this light of awareness, we give it permission to shine through the skin. Almost as though the source of this light was within us. We often see the sun or some bulb as the source of light. But here, as we bathed our bodies in this light, our very bodies have become the center, the source of this light, and it shines outward. And we allow it to shine through our skin, reaching the space around us, reaching the corners of the room. But this is a very special light, and it has the ability to move through walls. Because walls, even though they appear to be solid, they too are made up of atoms and molecules, with nothing but space in between them. And so this light, it quite easily moves through these walls into the corridors outside your room, into the building, past the walls of the building into the streets outside. And see if you can identify yourself with this light, allowing your body made up of this light to expand. It reaches all those. It travels at incredibly high speeds, and so it reaches everyone you know, everyone you care about. Human beings, pets, different parts of the world, it's already there. And then it moves beyond, bathing all the mountains, all the surfaces of the seas and the oceans and the lakes, the fields, the forests, all of the life within. And a moment ago we allowed this light, we invited this light to reach all those whom we know, that we care about. It doesn't cost us anything. Why don't we allow this light to now reach those we haven't met? Perhaps even those we've met whose names we don't know, who we've passed on the streets, who we've bought our groceries from. Those whom we haven't had the opportunity to attach names to. We allow the light to reach every single one of these beings. The squirrels that you passed on the park, the birds on the trees, the stranger walking his dog, his or her dog. And then we specially invite this light rather, with all its qualities, to reach all those who are experiencing the opposite of these qualities. Those who are sad, those who are lonely, those who may be hungry and uncomfortable without homes, without shelter, without. We ask this light to reach every single one of these beings. So that they too may experience ease, comfort, full stomachs, healing, the proper care, company, smiles, laughter, shelter, homes, security, safety. And then we allow this light to move beyond the surfaces of this planet, into the skies above us, underneath us, all around us, because there really is no above or underneath us there in a round planet. And this light, it merges with the light of the sun, the light of the stars, and whatever's beyond it. And then we turn back. We notice the bodies where we started, where we began this practice in. It's 5 senses, its surfaces, but from outside. If there is such a thing as outside, because everything, this light seems to reach it all. And there is only one. Perhaps that's what life is. Indivisible, that which connects each and every one of us. That's why we care about each other. That's why we want those around us to have full stomachs, shelters, homes, comfort, peace. I will ring the bell now. And it's going to be an opportunity to stretch these bodies, to move these bodies, to do anything at all that will bring a little bit more comfort to your body. You can massage your body, you can have a sip of water, no rules at all. And you could even lie down if that's the kind of posture that you would like to continue with. every movement becomes an opportunity to practice arriving, to practice alignment, to step outside of the thought process and into the present moment. And I will ring the bell, and this time it will symbolize the close of our practice, but the beginning of our true practice. The same way a moment ago we allowed the light to spread from our bodies into these spaces, into the rooms that we are in, and beyond the rooms. This beginning represents the expansion of our practice from this tiny space we find ourselves in, these rooms, into everything that the world brings to us from this moment onwards. It's not that difficult. We'll begin by simply reminding ourselves that we've already done all that we need to do to tap into this space. Now we carry it with us. Sometimes we'll get caught up in the mind. We'll get caught up in the urgency, the stress, the worries, but we have the tools. Our breath, our bodies, our life. Let's see where it takes us.